Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
If Laura's flight had landed when it was supposed to, and not an hour early, I would have made it to the apartment first and could have set everything up properly. Instead, I stood in the hallway, still in my coat, while Laura screamed at me. "What's wrong with you, Paul? I come home from a terrible business trip, hoping you remembered our anniversary, and I find this place turned into a cult headquarters." She stormed into the living room. "Don't move the candles," I shouted, taking off my jacket and shoes, hurrying after her. Laura turned to face me, her finger pointing at the circle of candles. "Paul, why are there candles in the living room? Why is there a pile of rose petals in the middle of the floor? And why did you burn a symbol into the hardwood?" "It's a pentagram," I corrected. "I don't care what it is," Laura snapped, her voice growing louder. "I wanted a nice dinner, maybe a movie, not this. And before you even try to explain, what's this?" She shoved a piece of paper in my face. I had a feeling this wasn't going to end well. She was never supposed to see this. Laura pulled the paper back and started reading aloud. 5'5". Long legs. High-pitched voice. Huge chest. Wears provocative clothing. "Is this your dream girl, Paul?" "Well, yes, I mean." Before I could finish, Laura slapped me across the face. I staggered back, barely catching myself on the couch arm. "Get out. Now." "Laura," I croaked, still reeling, "my dream girl is you." "What?" "Paul, if you think you can talk your way out of this, you're wrong." "Just give me a chance," I said, rubbing my jaw as I walked over to the sidebar. Married for 2 years, and I never knew she had such a punch. I poured 2 glasses of wine and handed one to Laura. She snatched it and sat down on the couch, glaring at me. "This is the best gift I could think of for our anniversary," I said carefully. "The candles, the rose petals, and that piece of paper, they make the gift possible." "Gift?" Laura raised an eyebrow. I pulled a lighter from my pocket and began lighting the candles. "Yes, a gift, for both of us. Look, you're beautiful, and I adore you. But you always complain about your looks. You compare yourself to these glamorous women and feel bad. You don't wear certain things because you think they make you look fat when you're not. After tonight, you won't have any excuses left. You'll be stunning." "Shut up," Laura muttered, knocking back the rest of her wine. She poured another glass and leaned against the bar. "So you're telling me this setup is going to change my body to match this description?" She waved the paper. "Yes. Exactly. It's almost ready now that the candles are lit. Paul, it's not going to happen." Her voice was low, but her rage was clear. "How dare you think you can do this without even telling me? Were you just going to surprise me, like, poof, I'm a goddess?" Well, nothing." She drained the second glass and walked up to me. "This description? It's a fantasy. Sure, I might sometimes want to look different, but I don't want this imposed on me. I thought you loved me for who I am." "I do, Laura, it's just nothing, Paul. This is your fantasy, not mine. And it's a poorly thought out one at that. Did you think this through at all? No one would recognize me, none of my clothes would fit." "Yes, they would. Everything changes. Your wardrobe, your driver's license, even your baby pictures. Nobody would know about the change except you and whoever is there when it happens. And what would my boss say if I showed up at work dressed like a cheap hooker? None of my clients would take me seriously. What would I do for a living, Paul?" I had to admit, she was right, I hadn't thought about that. Laura went on, "I get it. Somewhere in that misguided male brain of yours, you thought this would be a good idea for me, but it's not." She grabbed the piece of paper and held it over one of the candle's flames. This was the first bit of good news I'd heard all night. Laura thought she was destroying the spell, but in reality, she was triggering it. As the paper turned to ash, All she needed to do now was step into the rose petals on the pentagram, and the change would be complete. Of course, now I'd have to deal with a very angry, yet stunningly beautiful woman, but maybe once she adjusted to her new body, she'd see the upside. I set my wine glass on the bar. "Laura," I said in the most apologetic tone I could muster, "I'm really sorry. I should have considered your feelings more." "Paul," she said softly, her voice almost pitying, "it's over. Not just this weird occult stuff, everything. I'm divorcing you. I'll have my things picked up tomorrow. The fact that you thought you could manipulate me like this. It's horrifying, Paul. I don't even know who you are anymore. This was bad. I was just moments away from everything, and now it was all falling apart." She turned and started toward the door. "Laura, wait." I reached for her arm. In a blur of movement, with a look of pure hatred, Laura shoved my arm away and punched me square in the nose. The pain hit instantly, blurring my vision as I staggered back. I nearly slipped on something soft. Rose petals. No, this couldn't be happening. Suddenly, I was surrounded by a warm yellow light, unable to move. I saw Laura take a step back, shocked. Inside me, a strange, liquid heat spread across my stomach. My chest pushed outward. My hair fell in dark waves down my shoulders. My arms and legs slimmed, and my clothes shifted into a new form. Laura stared at me, still in disbelief, trying to suppress a laugh. She refilled both her glass and mine. How could she find this amusing? As the warm glow receded back into the floor, I was terrified to look down. There they were, large chest, exactly what I'd wanted Laura to have. I touched my slim waist, feeling the tight vinyl of a black mini dress. I could feel the garter holding up sheer black stockings. My legs seemed impossibly long in proportion to my body, especially in the 6-inch stiletto heels. I looked up, and Laura was walking toward me with 2 glasses of wine. She was no longer trying to hold back her laughter, she was snickering openly. "It's not funny," I squeaked, my voice now unnaturally high-pitched. Laura burst into full laughter, almost spilling the wine. I sounded completely ridiculous, like some kind of caricature. She steadied herself and handed me my glass. Hooking her arm through mine, she led me down the hall. The click of my new heels echoed through the house, and surprisingly, I had no trouble walking in them. We entered our bedroom, and Laura put her hands on my shoulders, turning me to face her. As I looked past her, I noticed my bedside table now had a small silver purse and jewelry on it. The sneakers I'd left in the corner had turned into a pair of thigh-high boots. This couldn't be real. I slammed back the wine. Laura slowly spun me to face the full-length mirror on the sliding closet door. My glass dropped to the floor as I saw my new reflection, and tears filled my eyes. Laura whispered in my ear, "Say hello to your dream girl, Paul." She dissolved into hysterical laughter as she walked out, leaving me standing there, unable to recognize myself.